everyone, I'm Jayashree. Welcome to this tutorial for the Crochet Casual top. Again, another very easy pattern. It's a top-down pattern, and we begin at the neckline, working down the yoke to the body of the top, and then we complete the sleeves. I've used 100% cotton yarn in a 4-ply weight, and I do love the drape of it. If you do follow my videos or are subscribed to my channel, you'll see from my previous video the yoke of this top is similar, or should I say the same as the yoke from that video, and that's because I needed to show you that it works well with this yoke pattern works well with both acrylic light yarns or cotton light yarns. We'll begin with a slip knot, and you'll see that I'm using a solid colored yarn for this tutorial. That's because I ran out of this two-tone yarn that I had originally used for the yoke. So anyway, moving on, we'll form this chain. So it's yarn over and go through, yarn over, go through. Okay, so this chain that we're forming, once it's joined to form a ring, this ring of chains should be able to fit over your head comfortably and should sit around your shoulders, or sorry, not shoulders, neckline comfortably. So you'll continue until you get the correct length for your size. So once you're done with this chain, it's join the chain that's attached to the hook to the first chain, and with a slip stitch, making certain that this entire chain is not twisted. Okay, so at this point, this entire ring of chains should be able to fit over your head and sit around your neckline comfortably. Round 1, chain 1, single crochet into the same stitch as chain 1. Then it's single crochet into the remaining chains. Continue with single crochets to the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 1, and I've worked single crochets into all the chains. So to end the round, it's slip stitch into that single crochet from the start. Round 2, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 4 counts as a triple crochet. So here we'll be working triple crochets into all stitches. And to triple crochet, it's yarn over twice, insert the hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook. Continue with triple crochets to the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 2, and I've worked those triple crochets all across. So to end the round, it's slip stitch into the 4th chain from chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. round 3, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So round 3 is a repeat of round 2, and all we'll be doing here is working triple crochets into all stitches. Continue to the end of the round. I've completed round 3 working those triple crochets all across, and to end the round I slip stitched into the 4th chain from chain 4 to join. Round 4, chain 4, 2, 3, 4, chain 4 counts as a triple crochet. Now for round 4 we'll be working increases, and you'll notice for the rest of the pattern for the yoke, it's an increase round after every 2 rounds of triple crochets. So we've worked out 2 rounds of triple crochets and we have an increase round. Okay, so here for round 4, it's an increase after every 3 stitches. Remembering that my chain 4 counts as my first stitch. So that's my second stitch, my third stitch, and then it's for the increase, it's 2 triple crochets worked into 1 stitch. So that was the first triple crochet, and here's the second, and that's my increase. Then again it's 3 stitches and then an increase. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then the increase, which is 2 stitches worked into 1 stitch. That was 1, and here's the second. So my stitch pattern here is 3 triple crochets and an increase. So after every 3 stitches is an increase. That's 2 triple crochets into 1 stitch. Continue to the end of the round. I've completed round 4 and I've worked those increases after every 3 stitches. To end the round, I slip stitched into the 4th chain from chain 4 to join. I've completed the yoke, which now measures 19 centimeters or 7.5 inches, and that is the right measurement for a size medium. So you could work to the armhole depths that I provide, which I've taken from Craft Yarn Council's website, or you could foot on the yoke, making certain that it ends in line with the underarm. Okay, so those measurements for the armhole depths are provided in the next clip. So what I did here was I repeated round 2, round 3, and round 4. Like if we look at the yoke now, round 1 was a round of single crochets. Round 2, triple crochets. Round 3, triple crochets. Round 4 was an increase round where I increased after every 3 stitches. Round 5, triple crochets. Round 6, triple crochets. Round 7 was an increase round where I increased after every 4 stitches. Round 8, triple crochets. Round 9, triple crochets. Round 10 was an increase round where I increased after every 5 stitches. Round 11, triple crochets. Round 12, triple crochets. So if you're working to a longer armhole depth, you will continue with the next round with an increase after every 6 stitches and so forth until you get the correct armhole depth for your size. So if you need an extra small or small, then the number of rounds you work would be shorter or lesser. So maybe you wouldn't even go up to the last 2 rounds. You wouldn't even work those last 2 rounds for like a size small and extra small. It all depends on the armhole depth measurement. So here you'll work to that armhole depth measurement, and remembering that after every 2 rounds is an increase round. So before moving on to the body of the top, we need to separate the front body, back body, and the armhole spaces. And to do that, you need to count the number of stitches for your last round. Okay, in my case, I have 206 stitches. So that 206 stitches, I've divided it by 4, which leaves me with 51 stitches, and I've got a remaining 2 stitches. So what I've done, I've allocated those stitches to the back body, 51 stitches, the first sleeve or armhole space, 51 stitches. The front is the 51 stitches plus those remaining 2 stitches, which gives me 53 stitches. The sleeve, the second sleeve or the armhole space, 51 stitches. So what I've done here is from the start, I've counted from that chain 4, which is my first stitch. I've counted 51 stitches and marked it off with my first stitch marker, and that marks off the back body. Then again, it's 51 stitches, and that marks off my armhole space. Here you see my second stitch marker. Then it's 53 stitches, because remember I've added the remainder or the remaining stitches onto my front body, and I've marked it off with my third stitch marker. So here, if I count the rest of the stitches, I should have 51 stitches, bringing me to the last stitch just before that chain 4 from the start. So here you see I've marked off my 4th stitch marker. So that marks off our body, or separates the body into the back body, front body, and armhole spaces on either side. Now there's just a little adjustment that I want to make before we move along, and that's to tighten up the sleeve area slightly and to loosen up on the body of the top. So if I've placed my yoke as I've done, I've set it properly, and here I've got my back body and my front body, and on either side I've got my armhole spaces with my stitch markers all lining up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my stitch markers. So here I'm going to move it just 1 stitch outwards. So there's my, and I'll move it here, and I'll do the same on the other side, moving that stitch marker 1 stitch outwards. On the next armhole space, I'll do the same, move that stitch markers 1 stitch outwards. So what I'm doing here is I'm tightening up the sleeve or the armhole slightly, and I'm loosening up on the body of the top. So after I've done that, I can continue with the body of the top. So we're continuing with the body from where we've stopped. Round 1, chain 1, single crochet into the same stitch as chain 1, and then it's single crochets to my first stitch marker. I've worked those single crochets across, and I'm at stitch marker 1. So here I've single crocheted into the stitch marked by stitch marker 1. Then it's chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this chain of 7 can be altered. So you could make it a chain of 5, a chain of 7, a chain of 8, 9. My advice would be to chain the 7, and once you're done with the round, fit on the piece. And if you find that it's too tight under the armholes, you could increase the chain here. Or if it's too loose under the armholes, you could decrease the chain here. So I've chained my 7, and then I'm going to skip the stitches in between stitch marker 1 and 2, making certain that this armhole space faces in my direction, and then it's single crochet into that stitch marked by stitch marker 2 to join. Then it's single crochet to stitch marker 3. And here you see that I've created the armhole and I've joined the front to the back. I've single crocheted to the second armhole space, which is the 3rd stitch marker. So I've also single crocheted into that stitch marked by the 3rd stitch marker. Then it's chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and skipping the stitches in between stitch marker 3 and 4, making certain that this armhole space faces in your direction. And then I'll I'll single crochet into the stitch marked by the 4th stitch marker. I'm back at the start, so here I'm slip stitching into that first single crochet to join. For the body of the top, I'll be changing the color of my yarn, so I'm now working with the solid color, and I'll just bring it through, pull on my yarn to tighten. Then it's round 2, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here I'm working triple crochets all across. Continue to the end of the round. Round 2 of the body, I chained 4 and I triple crocheted all across. Notice under the armholes, that chain of 7 that I made, I worked those triple crochets into those chains as well on either side. I then slip stitched to join. I've continued on with the body, and here I have round 3 and round 4, which is a repeat of round 2, where I just worked triple crochets. So at this point, the piece, when fitted, ends just under my bust. So you'll need to work as many rounds as need be so that your piece ends just under the bust. In my case, I only needed a further 2 rounds, which I've already worked. Before moving on to round 5, we need to count the number of stitches that we have for our last round. And our stitch count should or must be in multiples of 3 to begin the next round. I'd say rather increase than decrease. So if you a stitch or 2 short, you'd have to work an increase or 2 into the pattern. And an increase again is just as we had done for the yoke. It's 2 stitches into 1 stitch. Round 5, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it's chain a further 3, 1, 2, 3. Then it's skip 2 stitches, so that's 1, 2, and into the next stitch triple crochet. Then it's chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and into the next stitch, triple crochet. So that's my stitch pattern for this round. It's chain 3, skip 2, triple crochet, continue to the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 5 and I've worked my triple crochet with a chain 3 and I have 2 stitches to go. So to end the round, it's into the 4th chain, slip stitch to join. Round 6, single crochet into that chain 3 space, then it's chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 4 counts as a triple crochet, chain a further 2, 1, 2, and triple crochet into that same space. Then it's chain 1 and into the next chain 3 space, triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, all into the chain 3 space. Then it's chain 1 and our stitch pattern is into the chain 3 spaces, triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, then it's chain 1 into the next chain 3 space, triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, chain 1 to the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 6 and I've worked my stitch pattern into that chain 3 space from the round before. So I've worked a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet into that space and I've chained 1. So to join, it's into the 4th chain from my chain 6, slip stitch. Round 7, single crochet once to get into that first chain space, then it's chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and chain 4 counts as our first triple crochet. Then into that same space, work another triple crochet, chain 1 and 2 more triple crochets all into that same chain space. Into the next chain 2 space, I'll work 2 triple crochets, chain 1, 2 triple crochets. And here's my chain 1, and then it's 2 more triple crochets into that same space. So that's my stitch pattern. Into all chain 2 spaces, I'll work 2 triple crochets, chain 1, 2 triple crochets. Continue to the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 7 and I've worked my stitch pattern into that last chain 2 space with 2 triple crochet, chain 1, 2 triple crochet into that chain 2 space. I then slip stitched into the 4th chain from chain 4 to join. So I've completed rounds 8 and round 9, and rounds 8 and round 9 is a repeat of round 6 and round 7. Now you'll see for round 8, I worked my stitch pattern into that chain 1 space. So into all those chain 1 spaces, I worked my stitch pattern. And then, well, for round 9, I worked my stitch pattern into the chain 2 spaces. Round 10, I slip stitched twice to get into that chain 1 space in between the triple crochets. I then chained 4 and chained a further 2 and triple crocheted into that same space. Then it's a chain 1, triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 1, and I'll follow the pattern with the triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet into all the chain 1 spaces, and a triple crochet in between the stitch patterns. I'm at the end of the round and I've worked my stitch pattern into the last chain 1 space with my triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, and then it was a chain 1, and I slip stitched into the 4th chain to join. Round 11, and I've already worked my first pattern sequence for the round. So what I did was I single crocheted into that first chain 3 space. I then chained 4, worked 2 triple crochets and chain 1, and a further 3 triple crochets into that chain 3 space. Then I'll follow the pattern sequence with 3 triple crochets, chain 1, 3 triple crochets into each of these chain 3 spaces to the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 11 and I've worked my stitch pattern into the last chain 3 space. So to complete the round, it's slip stitch into the 4th chain from chain 4 to join. Round 12, here we'll slip stitch 3 times to get into that chain 1 space. That's the first, second, and the third. Then it's chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's a chain of further 3, 1, 2, 3, and triple crochet into that same space. Then it's chain 1, and into that next chain 1 space we'll work a triple crochet, chain 3, triple crochet. So that's my stitch pattern for round 12. So the difference here is from now onwards we'll be working the chain 3s in between the triple crochet, whereas in the previous rounds when we repeated this stitch pattern we worked a chain 2 in between our triple crochets. Continue to the end of the round. I've come to the end of round 12 and I worked the triple crochet, chain 3, triple crochet into that chain 1 space from the round before. Then I chained 1 and I slip stitched into the 4th chain from my chain 4 right at the start. I've completed the body of the top, and all I did was repeat rounds 11 and round 12 to the length that I needed the top at. The last round was a repeat of round 11. So now I'll fasten off and cut off the excess yarn and move on to the sleeves. I've continued on with the sleeves. And well, this is just a repeat of what we've done with the body of the top. So what I did was I attached yarn to the underarm area of the armhole. I then chained 4 and worked triple crochets all around, slip stitched to join, and I repeated that round with round 2 and round 3 of the sleeve. Now for round 3, just as we had done with the body, we've got to make sure that the stitch count here is in multiples of 3. Should you need to increase to bring it to multiples of 3, you'll do it in this round. The next round, round 4, is a repeat of round 5 from the body. Round 5, a repeat of round 6 from the body. Round 6, a repeat of round 7 from the body. Round 7, a repeat of round 8 from the body. And then for round 8, I worked the 3 triple crochets, chain 1, 3 triple crochets for my stitch pattern, which is a repeat of round 11 from the body. I will provide the steps in the next clip of which rounds to repeat for the sleeve. So I've done that for this armhole space, and I've repeated it for the next armhole space. Then it's fasten off and cut off the excess yarn. So now that our sleeves are complete, we can now weave in all these ends to neaten up the top. And yes, that brings us to the end of the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and please don't forget to subscribe. And thank you for watching.